Two moms, two marketers, two women new to the financial industry. They have a lot of questions. That's why they're bringing in financial experts to educate all of us here on A Penny or Two for Your Thoughts.
Hey everyone, it's Chantal and Liz with Centris Federal Credit Union. And welcome back to another episode of A Penny or Two for Your Thoughts podcast.
You almost forgot the name of our podcast.
I know.
And we're in what, like 14, 15 episodes?
I'm trying to slow roll it,
You're going to slow it down. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Oh, okay.
You know who else is slower rolling?
Folks, I swear she's only had water to drink this morning.
No, I'm serious. Mother Nature. She is on a path of destruction and I'm over her.
Same. I think we need to take her out for lunch or buy her nice jewelry or something because she's having a heyday this month.
I know. I mean, we are in April.
No, we're not. Well, I mean, this is going to go live in April, but we're technically not living April yet.
I was trying to fool our listeners.
Oh. So it's April. April Fools.
It's
Got
April
you.
Fool's Day, everyone.
April Fools.
Oh man, yeah. So it's April. Let's just say it's April.
Okay, it's just April.
What are we doing?
But you know what? What if it's really nice in April and we just totally made no sense to our listeners?
What's new?
Fair.
We are right on track today.
So you don't want me to say anything about National Pie Day or anything?
Oh. Yeah. How did you celebrate National Pie Day on March 14th?
I don't know. I suppose I talked about pies.
Did you have to memorize that number, that 3.14, and then all the et cetera numbers after that?
So you're just like me. You're just like 3.14 and you stop there.
Well, yeah.
Like I stop at the 4. I know some people that can rattle off all the numbers.
Did you have to memorize it?
I did a long time ago, but that was one of the things I decided: music lyrics or that number. And I went with music lyrics from the 90s. So I can,
what would we use 3.14, et cetera in marketing? I can't even tell you. I'm like asking for a friend.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Make it up. You would use that number. Well, you probably use every single one of those numbers in some form of marketing because there's a lot of numbers in 3.14, et cetera, et cetera.
You are spinning. I love it so much. Yeah. I'm like just sitting here watching you. Okay, so
spinning out of control.
What's your favorite type of pie?
See, okay. I kind of prepped myself for this question because I was like, if we do happen to talk about what we loved on national past tense, because it's past tense. Summertime, I'm a key lime girl. I love key lime pie. But like in the winter, I want maybe like a chocolate peanut butter or something.
Oh, so there's differences here.
Yeah. So key lime is super light.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I could eat, if somebody offered me key lime on December 6th.
Would you eat it?
I would totally eat it.
Okay.
There's a different flavor. In July.
I like that a lot.
How about you? What's yours?
Lemon meringue.
Oh, that's good.
But now that you're saying this whole seasonal thing.
Yeah. Lemon meringue would just taste different. Like if you offered that at the holidays, I mean, it's not bad.
Some people turn away and say, I don't want to come to your house for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Right. Because you're not serving the right pie.
I'm going to offer lemon meringue pie.
Do it. I'm going to make a key. I'll make a key. You know what? Let's do this. It's for science.
Yes.
You make a lemon meringue for Thanksgiving and I will make key lime and we'll see what happens.
All right.
We'll see what riffs we start.
Yes.
Because there's no pumpkin. Pumpkin is retired.
No.
Pumpkin wants a year off.
Talking about riffs. I think you got a good riff coming up here.
We do. So it's April. And you know what April is? April is Youth Savings Month and Financial Literacy Month. 2 awesome things in one month. And our guest today has helped roll out some really great financial education tools at Centris Federal Credit Union. She's been with Centris for 20 years and in the credit union industry for almost 27. She is very well known in the Omaha community, so listeners, you may know her, and has volunteered for nonprofits since she was a teenager, which was like just yesterday. She currently serves, 27 yesterday. Close enough. She currently serves on the board of 2 nonprofit organizations and is a Rotarian. Please welcome to the show, our wonderful Vice President of Community Relations, Dawn Gonzales. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Okay, first
Thanks
question.
for having me.
What's your pie?
Oh, I'm a key lime girl too,
Oh.
but I like caramel apple.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one.
And I don't know if this counts for pie, but Cheesecake Factory.
Mm,
I mean, they put it in a pie shape, right?
that's
Yeah,
true.
they cut it into
Yeah.
a pie shape.
That-
The
They probably
Reese's
use
is
a
mine.
pie.
yeah.
Yeah, peanut butter and chocolate sounds good together.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do we do these podcasts right before lunch?
I know. I was just thinking, like, it's my snack time.
I know.
We didn't schedule this very well. And we're talking
Warning
about
to
pie.
all listeners, should you hear Liz's stomach growl?
Yep. Shortly thereafter, you'll hear Chantel's.
It's all part
Our
of the
stomachs
show.
talk. While we banter up here, they're bantering below the mic.
Dawn, you're here. You're on the podcast with us. Thank you so much
Thanks for having me.
for coming. And that intro, you are so involved in the community. Obviously, your title, community relations, but you wear a lot of different hats. I mean, from community relations to sponsorships to financial literacy. And that's really what we're here today to talk about. So thank you so much. And we're excited to have you here because, again, as Liz said, it is Youth Savings Month and National Financial Literacy Month. And we talk about this on the show so much, how important it is for people to understand, what that really means. So we're just going to jump in. Sound okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
Awesome. All right. From the ground up, here we go. What is the difference between financial literacy, financial education, and financial capability? Are they the same? I hear a lot of those terms kind of thrown around. So if you could give our listeners kind of an explanation of what all that means.
Yeah, I think kind of in a nutshell, I like to think of financial education as the process of learning.
Mhm.
So if you think about somebody who's learning to read, you're really not literate until you are reading those words and you're not even thinking about it. So financial education is the process of learning about financial concepts and strategies. It's the curriculum in our schools. It's financial products, learning how to budget, save and manage debt. And then financial literacy is the ability to understand financial concepts, use them in an informed financial decisions, not thinking about, how do I do this? Or how do I think about reading? How do I sound this out? You
Right.
just do it. Like it just flows. That would be financial literacy. You know what you're doing when it comes to your money and potentially others. And then there's financial capability, and that's the combination of literacy and education. And it's that confidence in being able to make those financial decisions for our personal needs. It's also the means and the willingness to put that financial education into action.
Very good.
Because you can have those, but if you're not capable,
Right.
then you are potentially failing.
One of
Right.
those is going to fall apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you didn't have somebody supporting you along the way, giving you that education,
Right.
again, it's all combined, right?
Yep.
Why do you think, I think this was one thing that we really found interesting when we came to the credit union space is that there is such an incredible focus
Mhm.
on financial education, financial literacy, and capability. Why do you think that is so important to the credit union space specifically?
I think that I see, in my perspective, I see credit unions and other financial institutions having that focus on financial education. We know that in America, money is one of the greatest stressors of all kinds of things, whether it be a relationship. If you're not able to manage it, know where the money's coming from to pay those bills, that's causing stress.
Yep.
And stress has weird ways of affecting our lives. So I think that there's been a greater focus over the last several years to help people understand how to manage their money. We've got an incredible debt crisis in America. People are
Right.
not saving. Last statistics, I think I saw 65 to 70 some percent of Americans don't have $1,000 in their checking accounts or their savings accounts to pay for an emergency.
Mhm.
And there's great ways to get that emergency savings fund. It just takes a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of discipline to make it all happen. And maybe today we can talk a little bit about that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So as we're talking about why credit unions put so much focus on this, what do you see credit unions doing really well when it comes to financial literacy and that financial education? And at the end of the day, what makes them different than the other financial institutions that are doing the same thing?
So I'd love to talk about Centris if we can.
Of course.
Sure.
I think some of the areas that we do really well in is our youth financial education, our Mad City Money. We also have a great product that is free to anybody. You don't have to be a Centris member to use it. It sits right on our website. We call it our Financial Wellness Center because financial literacy, financial capability go hand in hand with being financially well. And they're little modules. I think there's over 50 of them, and they are 5 to 10 minutes in length, and they give you enough information to just know something about a financial product, a financial concept. It gives you, it's not going to be like, you're taking an hour-long class and getting all the knowledge. It's enough to answer those basic questions so that then you can do deeper dives, whether it be you're doing your Google searches or you're talking to your personal banker, or just more information, I think is, knowledge is power. So
Right.
I know I found it super helpful when I was like coming into the credit union space, just logging into that and looking at all the information that's out there.
It was like 6 minutes, 5 minutes for these. And I remember sharing those on my LinkedIn, and people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this. This is so great. And it's like you said, it's free. But you really talked really quick about Mad City Money, but you need to talk a little bit more about that. You are like the queen of Mad City Money for Centris. So tell the listeners really what Mad City Money is all about.
So Mad City Money is basically a 2-hour simulated model. I like to call it our game of life on steroids. And it is for young adults, high schoolers through early college. We've actually even run some high school financial education educators through the course, and it got rave reviews because it reminded those educators of just simple concepts that we can all put to use. It is, when I talk about the game of life, these kids all get a persona. So maybe today I'm a welder and you're a nurse, and we have a salary, and we have a spouse's or partner's salary too. Everybody has a child. And through that 2-hour process, we have to budget for diapers and daycare and food and clothing and housing and all the stuff that kids' parents are doing, and a lot of times kids take for granted. And within that 2-hour time frame, they come into us, I think, being sometimes a little bit apprehensive about this experience. And by the time they're done, they're laughing and they've had a great time. It takes about 15 Centris employees to put this experience on. Sometimes we pull volunteers from the community to help us out. But our staff always has a great time. It's a great way for us to feel good about what we're doing from a financial education standpoint. 2 hours and you walk away feeling like you've made a difference in the life of somebody. And those students that have gone through that experience walk away having a better understanding about how budget works, and realizing too about all of the things that their parent or guardian have done for them throughout their life. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway for me.
Absolutely.
Kids walk away going, wow, adulting is hard. And I didn't realize how much my mom and dad did for me.
Yeah.
So, I think that's really cool.
We had the opportunity to help with that. And one of them, I don't know, last year sometime. And you were a used car salesman.
I was a used car salesperson.
I mean, but
that was a lot of fun.
It was just so fun to like act out those roles. I think I was the daycare provider, and it was so funny. These kids come up and like, yeah, well, I don't really want this kid. Well, you got this kid. And we're at daycare right now. So it was just that funny, like, this is your life now. Let's try to figure it out. So
the best was a couple of kids. It's like, okay, that's your car. Now what's the car for your spouse? And one of them was like, they can walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They have this budget, and at the end of the scenario, and there's also a credit union involved. So they're having to pay down credit card debt and student loan debt, and they're having to pay for insurance. And at the end of this whole scenario, they are supposed to have $100 in their account. So they start with several thousand, just like we would on a every other week basis with our paycheck. And we do all the things to make sure that we're managing our money. And that's where these kids are at. It condensed into 2 hours is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So you've talked about you worked with middle school kids, high school kids, but really when is a good time? At what age is a good time to start talking to kids about financial education?
So I think talking to children about financial education should start as soon as they are able to understand the concept of bartering, exchanging. I think about my kids and preschoolers, and if they're seeing something in the store, I want that. I want that.
I hear that all the time.
You've got a
Every time
toddler.
at Target.
I was just going to say, she knows exactly when you walk in a Target.
She does.
So it's a good opportunity to talk about that simple concept of needs and wants.
Mhm.
As soon as they're old enough, you put money into I think about, because I'm older and my children are older, but that gumball machine or purchasing something and giving them choices, giving them the foundation for good savings habits, spending habits, using rewards for behavior. If you think about that simple concept with toddlers, especially if you're using a star chart, you're giving them stars, and in return, they get a prize or whatever it is that you've set up in your household. That's really the beginnings of an economics lesson, if you think about it, because it's a given, it's an exchange.
Yeah.
You did something here and you're going to get something in return. So that's a great place to start, and however you choose to do it. But you can take it a step further. Centris has piggy banks. Anytime you open a savings account for a child, they will give you a piggy bank. You can also purchase them. I think they're $5 in our branches. And we don't make any money off of those. That $5 is shared throughout the state for additional financial education initiatives in the schools. That habit of establishing, whether it be allowance, that you're giving that child coins where they can put it in the piggy bank and then bring it into the branch. There's prizes in our branches for putting a deposit into their savings accounts. Get that stuff established early.
Yeah.
And then continue to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. You just made me have a flashback memory. So I had a piggy bank when I was like 3, and I remember this piggy bank now. And my little sisters, twin sisters, broke my piggy bank, and I was like,
Oh, devastation. Yeah.
I cut their bangs after that. I just remembered this. My mom is going to kill me, but I cut their bangs because I was so mad. And then I hid the hair under the bed. I know this has nothing to do with financial education, but the piggy bank really sparked a memory.
I'm going to say this to our producer, Cam. If I come in with bangs, that means I've upset Chantel. Oh boy,
you got to start them early. But man,
I actually started laughing when you did the whole rewards chart thing. I literally just envisioned my Augie literally finding the stickers or whatever to put up on that rewards chart and putting them up there herself, randomly.
I deserve this today.
Yep, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should see her in Target. She's terrible. We find things in the cart.
But you probably do a little bit of that. I mean, if you're doing sticker charts, what's her reward for doing whatever it is that you asked her to do?
Well, we don't do sticker charts because unfortunately the stickers that we do have in the house are stuck to everything else but any sort of chart. Speaking of that, I literally just found a sticker on the carpet in our living room this morning. I was like, what is this? Oh, it's a sticker. Cool. No, but she has 2 piggy banks. One of them is from Centris because she does have a little account at Centris. And she loves to take her coins and put them in there. We've given her coins and a couple dollar bills just so that she gets the understanding of money and understands that she saves that. Most of it is sitting right now in the cup holder of her little lion fold out chair. Not in the piggy bank. Piggy banks, the bottoms are open and they're sitting empty on the table. But either way, she understands that she needs to keep that safe. So in her mind, the cup holder is the safest spot. Yeah. Some people use under their mattress. Augie puts it in a cup holder.
I think that's good.
It's
and
good.
then she just kind of
and then she jingles it. Yeah, so she'll sit there and kick back in that chair and you just hear ching, ching,
She's
ching.
Like, money, money,
right.
money.
Yeah.
All day long.
She can pay for toll roads if you ever have the opportunity, right?
That's true. It's true. Yeah, she just says she's gonna buy us stuff at Target. So
yeah, I hope she does that.
Someday. Yes, someday. I hope she just buys all the things that she throws into the cart at Target.
We all have different aged children. So Augie is going to be 3.
I know.
I have a 15-year-old who just opened his first account. Okay. So has his first job. Your daughters are a little older than that, but it's just this it changes so dramatically as they
Mhm.
grow, but this lasts through their whole life. I
Right.
mean, so seeing Jace open up his first account and seeing his face when he got his first paycheck and wait, where's the rest of that money? Where?
Right.
Oh, taxes.
Mhm.
That's, having that conversation
Yep.
is just part of that education that parents should take into consideration as they get older.
Well, and it's funny, like if we think about it, when we were raised, we actually got physical dollars, we
Oh,
got
yeah.
physical money. And I don't know where the heck we found $2 bills but
Yeah.
to give to Augie. But like this day and age, kids are using Venmo, they
Yeah.
have their bank card or whatever. It's all digital, and it's all
Mhm.
like you don't carry
Yeah.
the cash.
Right.
And it's a different concept. I mean, even as I've gotten older, I don't typically have cash in my
I know.
wallet.
I know.
It's just
I think
very
we made
different age.
different age. My girls are in their early 20s, and when they were in middle school and high school, we were still doing cash. So, because they thought they were too young for a debit card.
Yeah.
And that many years ago, apps weren't that big of a
Yeah,
deal.
right,
We were still
right.
on flip phones at
Right.
the time.
Right.
So fast forward, high school, a little bit more progressive. We did, so rather than giving them their cash allowance, and they had chores to do, it wasn't just like here's some money to go spend. But as they get into high school, they start driving, they're involved in activities. Schedules don't always line up. So maybe they're at school until late at night because they're at practice for something and they're not going to make it home for a meal. To make sure that they always got cash in their pocket for Jimmy John's or whatever that sandwich run is going to be, it was a lot easier to start them with their first checking account. So we set it up like a payday. And we talked about what is the amount of money that our kids need on a weekly basis to get through all the things, the practices, the meal times, certainly they could have been taking meals from home too, but they're doing that for lunch and then for dinner, just trying to mix it up a bit, thinking about all of the things that teenagers like to do, need to do, but also helping them understand how money works and how money management works. They get paid twice a week, just like we were getting paid twice a week, and they had a certain amount and they knew what they could spend it on and what they needed to be cautious about. But there's the movies, that additional run to the fast food place for whatever time of day, that's not necessarily going to come out of my pocket. That's something that they needed to be mindful of, which helped, I think, establish good habits going forward. We've stopped the weekly
We've cut you off, girls, but we're here to tell you that on this podcast.
Yep, because life changes. They get jobs and they do well on their own. But we're still having those conversations. I've got a child that is 25 and getting married soon. Yikes, which is all great. But we're going through the budgeting process with that experience. And what are the things that are important? And she's meticulous about the spreadsheets.
Good.
I love that. I love that. And the youngest one is doing the same thing too. They're both doing well, and I think it's because we established some of those financial habits early on.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things that you can do too. If you've got middle schoolers or elementary school kids, some of my favorite activities when we have been in the schools is to do talking about money, talking about needs and wants, doing things like the old-fashioned Pepsi challenge, where you're blind taste testing store brands and the name brands, looking at pricing and nutrition and taste and what's important. There's some great consumer skills that come out of activities like that get those kids thinking and help them be part of the process with the household funds.
Right. Yep. I love it.
So financial education really shouldn't stop, like you said, when we turn 18, 19. I know your girls are older than that. As adults, what can we do to ensure we are staying informed on things like savings, rates, investments, even retirement? I mean, I know that's a ways away for all of us, but that's out there.
It is a ways away for all of us when I think about retirement. However, I'm a big fan of pay yourself first. And my resources it's the news. It could be TV, it could be magazines, it could be websites, it could be getting your online news. Find a news outlet that is legitimate and pay attention to some of that stuff. Our Centris Financial Wellness Center is a great place. This podcast is a good place. If you're looking for deeper dives, Susie Armand and Dave Ramsey are great resources.
Yep.
They have online classes that you can take that are a little bit deeper dives into certain topics. Financial advisor is another good one. A lot of financial advisors will meet with you on a first time, no cost. Figure out who your person is. Even if you have a retirement plan at your work, I still recommend that people have somebody outside of that space to run those ideas past. There's a lot of different thoughts out there. Find your person. Find that person that's going to help guide you to meet your goals. And thinking about goals, spend some time in that space. Think about what it is that you want to achieve when you're older and how you're going to get there. For kids if you have kids and like your son who's got his first paycheck, I would be talking to him right now about how much he can put away into a savings account so that he can establish that first. Set it and forget it and don't think about it. If he can do that now, he's 15, he can do that now, even with the little percentage, and he can continue to increase that percentage as he grows in his salary, as he grows in his experience. The difference between somebody who's in their 20s savings versus somebody who's in their 30s, 40s, 50s is night and day. There's that power of compounding interest. We won't go into all of that today because that could be another podcast, right?
Exactly.
But I think it's really important. You can have that serious conversation. I know that you have a great relationship with your son. You can have that conversation with him and talk about, there are little things that you can do that are painless.
Right.
And by the time he is your age and older, he will be so much better off if he just starts putting a little bit away now.
Did you hear that, Jace? Listen to this podcast.
Listen to your mother.
Yeah.
Well, we just launched our Centris Roundup program, which is actually a pretty cool,
It is
cool program because you just kind of set it and forget it kind of mentality where you just, every debit card purchase, it just rounds up to the next whole dollar. And they take that from the checking account and put it right into whatever savings account you've opted into.
It was so interesting because I didn't know if how he was going to react to something like this. And he goes, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think he really understood or was listening.
Right.
I mean, shocking. But he started it March 2nd, and 3 weeks later, he was already, $7 that he didn't have in his savings, So now he is spending money, but he's making money, and that's going straight to his savings account. And so he was really starting to see, he's like, wow, this is really cool. And I think what he also realized is that his financial institution, the one that he started with, they were looking out for him. They're doing things for him to help save. And again, another person in his life that's helping with financial education. So
that's very cool.
There was one thing that you said though, pay yourself first. Will you kind of just explain that to the listeners? Because we hear that a lot, but what does that really mean?
Okay. So every pay period, you've got your money and it goes different directions. Maybe some of it goes for insurance. Some of it is maybe automatically withdrawn for your retirement. Maybe you're in a 401k, but what are you doing for yourself? So I like to equate this to what can I give up in a week or 2 weeks time frame? Some people, you need to break it down further. So maybe it's a weekly basis. Could I give up something or could I set aside something within my needs and wants, $10 a week? Let's start with $10. So $10 over the course of a month, you're looking at $40 to $50, depending on, I guess, the length of the month, but on average, $40 a month. If I could set that aside, is that going to be painful to me? No, because I can spend $10 every week on something like a coffee or a burrito or whatever it happens to be. I could probably do without that. Pay myself first. I go in and talk to my banker. Hey, can you please take $10 this week and next week and the week after until I change that? Or maybe it's $20 a pay period, or maybe it's 50 or 100, depending on what that looks like for you and what you can afford to do. Talk to your banker. You know your budget, or if you don't know it, dig into some of our coursework online and figure out what that budget looks like, but then ask your banker to set up an automatic withdrawal and deposit into another account. So start that savings, pay yourself first, start that savings, get to a certain point. Maybe you set a goal of by the end of the year, if I start now, by the end of the year, I'm going to have $500 in my savings account. At $500, I'm going to make a decision. Do I invest that into the market potentially? Or do I put it into a certificate, which is a safer way, a more conservative way to save money? Maybe that's where I start. And I continue to build. That's how you get to your emergency savings account. For some people, they do it a lot more. If you and your spouse are both doing it, if you don't think about it and you go back and look several months later, wow, how did the money get there?
Yep.
I've been doing that for a long time, and I think about where that savings has built. That's where we've pulled our vacation funds. That's where we've pulled down payments for vehicles. That was painless. Oh, it's sitting right here. I mean, there's been a plan for it. It's savings. That's how you get to your 6 months of salary potentially.
Yeah.
There's just pay yourself first so that you're establishing that savings habit, which is so easy. Set it and forget it.
Very good. Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Augie, I'm going to play this episode for you.
Yeah.
That $10 that you're making mommy spend at Target every week
Could take us to Disney.
could take us to Disney.
It could.
You are lost. Target or Disney?
It might take a while to get
But,
there,
yeah,
but,
but
it's
there's a
start.
Disney section in
Oh,
Target, so
yes,
she
yes.
thinks she's
Yeah.
going to Disney
Yeah.
anyway. So we often hear about the 3 key components of financial literacy. What are those, and why is this concept so important to teach at an early age?
So those 3 concepts: spending plan, budget. Maybe some people call it that spending plan because it's a little bit more attainable. Budget can kind of sometimes be a scary term.
Yep.
The savings, and then the fraud and theft prevention. So it's important to teach those concepts at an early age, because the sooner you start practicing those concepts, then they will become a habit. Again, we talked about setting that money aside, investing early, investing every payday. I think with more of our financial lives being online, the biggest component of all of that is knowing where that money is going. So from shopping to banking, shopping online, even for your groceries, you can Target app, Walmart,
Right.
Amazon, Whole Foods, whatever. There are fraudsters at every turn. And it's making sure that we're doing everything that we can to prevent fraud from happening to us. I saw something yesterday that really kind of made me nervous. We've all seen the new app that allows you to take a concept and it basically writes the story for you. And all of the lessons that we've known about fraudsters and phishing and the spamming and things like that, where we're looking for the misspellings. Well, with this chat, whatever it's called, some of that is going to change very quickly. So we need to be hyper vigilant about our emails and what we're clicking into, not sharing passwords online, making sure that all of that is safe and secure. And if something were to happen, make sure that you know who to talk to at your financial institution. We're never going to ask for that information when we call you.
Right.
That's some of the things that just good advice. And if you're listening to this and you're not sure of what you might need to do from a cybersecurity standpoint, look at our website. We've got a lot of information out there, tips to keep your accounts safe and to keep not just your Centris account safe, but your other online accounts safe. As a parent, make sure that you know what your kids are doing online.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, that's what we've talked about a lot on this show. It's anywhere. And our children are on so many different apps, on so many different technology platforms. It's very easy to be caught up in the middle of that and think that it's real, or not feel like, oh, my financials are going to be taken care of. I don't need to worry. Or I can put my debit card anywhere or use my debit card anywhere. And it can happen like that. And that to be that young to have that, your personal information compromised, it's tough. It's tough to get through that. So
at any age,
yeah,
really.
Absolutely.
So we always like to wrap up our episode. The theme of the podcast is a penny or two for your thoughts. So we always like to ask our guests, what should our members or our listeners walk away with and remember from this episode? What's a penny or two for your thoughts, Dawn?
Just start the conversation. So talking to kids about money does not have to be hard. Not talking about money sets them up for future failure. And if you struggle with money concepts yourself, you're the parent that's like, where do I even start with this stuff? Come spend 5 or 10 minutes in the Centris Financial Wellness Center on a topic you don't know much about. Find something there. It's easy to understand. It can help you become smarter about the money. It'll give you some ideas about where you can have those conversations with your family. Just start. Yeah.
Very good.
It could be like the intro to family movie night. Okay, kids, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about for 5 minutes a topic about finance.
Yeah. Real quick.
Super easy.
It's dinner time conversation that's simple.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Dawn, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on the podcast and for all that you're doing for our community and for our members. For our listeners out there, if you have any financial topics you want to learn more about, you can email us at pennyforyourthoughts@centrisfcu.org. And we'll find someone and maybe bribe them to come onto the show. Sometimes cookies or pie might get them here. We owe Dawn a pie.
We do.
If you don't want to miss an episode, which we all know you don't, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and help other listeners find us by rating, reviewing, and sharing the latest episode. Be sure to follow Centris on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, or just check out our website at centrisfcu.org, where we have a really great blog full of good information. Thanks, Megan. If you want to chat with one of our amazing experts, just give us a call at 402-334-7000. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks, everyone.